Hi there and welcome to the Free West YouTube channel. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel by clicking in the bottom right hand corner to follow all the interesting and hopefully spellbinding videos that we are going to upload onto this channel in the days and weeks to come. Perhaps you already follow our international and European website freewest.com, which is updated daily with news, breaking news that no one else publishes anywhere in Europe in English or even in the United States. But breaking news in South Africa is that the South African government, the ANC regime, is importing about 200 Cuban doctors and other medical personnel into the country at an inflated cost of almost $500 million South African rand, which is equivalent to about 30 million US dollars, or close to that in euros as well. Why are they importing these Cuban doctors when our own doctors cannot even find jobs at the hospitals? Already, due to the prejudice with which the regime treats people of European descent, excluding young people from universities and from medical schools, it's very hard to get training as a doctor in South Africa, but there are some of our young people who have managed to do that, and they are ready to fill the posts at the hospitals, but they are being turned away at present. A lot of them are jobless. They've been highly trained at our medical schools that are still up to international standards, and instead of employing our own people, we are importing Cuban medical doctors that don't speak any of the local languages, including English and Afrikaans, as well as the other local languages, like African languages such as Zulu or Xhosa or North or South Sotho, Tswana, and a few others as well. So why on earth are we importing these Cuban doctors, Spanish-speaking personnel, who wouldn't be able to communicate to the patients locally? And even if they do know a bit of English, English is not spoken everywhere in South Africa. There are large parts of the country where English is a completely foreign language and where you have to know either Afrikaans or some of the African languages to be able to communicate. And then the cost. Why are we subsidizing? We've got Cuba, a communist island in the Caribbean. As it is, as a result of the ANC's large-scale and pervasive corruption, South Africa has an economic crisis on its hands. Our economy was in a recession even before the coronavirus broke. But now, with the effect of our recession compounded by the virus, there is a complete economic crisis in South Africa, as in other parts of the world. And we are heading for a huge budget deficit, which will have to be financed, and there isn't enough savings locally to finance the deficit. And at the same time, we are now dishing out huge amounts of money to Cuba to put up with their medical personnel in our country. But we know, of course, that there are, because the ANC originally was a communist movement, an Afro-Marxist movement, they still call each other comrade and so on. They had certain links with Cuba and the Soviet Union. And as a result of that, our country, which is no longer a very rich country, and we only have a GDP of less than $400 billion per annum, we are keeping Cuba, with its economy of $100 billion GDP per annum, afloat by sending them hard currency. We know that about a year ago or so, we extended a loan of 1 billion rand to Cuba, no strings attached, and we can be pretty sure that we'll never see that money. It's not going to be repaid, and our taxpayers are therefore subsidizing the totalitarian, repressive regime of the People's Republic of Cuba. The risks that we are running with all these doctors coming here, as I've explained, due to the communication problem, are great in my view. And in this, the chairperson of the South African Medical Association, Dr. Angelique Coetzee, concurs with me. The Medical Association has rejected this program, or this operation, this Cuban ANC subsidy operation, because not only do we have a lot of young doctors, medical students who have just finished their studies to employ in our hospitals and who cannot find positions, but we also have large numbers of medical retirees, very good doctors who have retired and, as in Europe and elsewhere, could be called upon in an emergency situation, such as we are living through at present, to come and assist in the hospitals and clinics and wherever they are needed. And their services would have been almost free, as they would be volunteers, or they could work for, in the national interest to save us from the virus. But instead of that, we are now paying top dollar for communist Cuban doctors who are going to be paid in excess of R1 million per year in salaries, plus accommodation, plus flights to and fro from Cuba. We will have to object to that very strenuously and also impress upon the outside world just how intolerable the current political and economic conditions in South Africa are under this crazy regime calling itself the African National Congress. On that note, well, thank you very much for watching this video, and again, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, which will henceforth be regularly uploaded with videos on all sorts of topics, both news and commentary. The Free West logo will also appear on the screen, and you can simply click on that and subscribe to the channel. Thanks again, and until next time, goodbye.